Laying in bed and someone had sent me an email with this link attached to it. The title of it is Shock Report FBI sends an armored vehicle with turret, two vans, six FBI vehicles, three local police vehicles to arrest young father who attended January 6th rally. Unbelievable interview. Please help. Joshua James was arrested this week and is being charged in connection with the violent events of January 6th in Washington, D.C. Joshua James is an Iraq war veteran. He was wounded in a bomb blast in Iraq, and Joshua is being held by the FBI without bail. Joshua is the breadwinner in his family. He receives retirement pay from the military. He has three young children, including a 3-year-old. His wife is a commission based part time realtor. She tells us she brings in little income. Now, you'll see in this article what they're going to start doing to people. Um, we've seen this in other places, but it's really going to start coming to light now. FBI lured him out of the home in Alabama by pretending to be a customer needing a pressure washing. Then an Army armored vehicle with a turret on top, two FBI vans, and six FBI vehicles, three local police and sheriff vehicles pulled up and ransacked their home. So where's your sheriffs at, guys? You see what they're doing, ransacking homes with the FBI. Audrey James, his wife, was forced to sit outside for 8 hours with her 3-year-old while the FBI searched their home and broke a light fixture. She's lucky that's all they broke. They usually destroy homes when they search them. Joshua James is a war hero, a veteran, and a godly man, a provider, and a business owner. Joshua James did not commit any violent crime. He attended the January 6th speech by President Trump at the Ellipse, along with a million other Americans. He volunteered to work security with other members of the Oath Keepers. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything they say about this guy. I don't know him. It's just the facts that are in this article. Well, what this article claims to be facts. What was interesting is when you get, I'll leave the link in the description. When you get down here to the bottom of this article, it talks about his bond. Joshua was denied bond. So here's what it says about it. And the reason for it is I find is really odd. It's more think crimes or what you could possibly do. Not because you've done anything today, but because what the state thinks you may do or the government thinks you may do or could do. Bail was recommended by the probation office, and we were told prosecution would not argue against bail. But somehow, at the last minute, the prosecution decided to argue against it. My husband was in D.C. that day, providing security detail for speakers of the rally that morning. FBI said under oath they did not believe my husband was a part of any violence, and they have no proof that he was involved in violence. The main topic of their testimony was the Oath Keepers logo on his hat, the organization who asked him to provide security to the speakers that day. They kept referencing two other individuals who had the same logos on their clothing that day and their aggressive behavior. The public defender asked, was Mr. James seen with these people exhibiting aggressive behavior? FBI responds, no, he was not. Public defender, well then let's talk about about Mr. James' actions instead. They said they have cell phone data that places Joshua pinging off a tower that provides service in that area that includes the Capitol. That doesn't prove anything other than he was in a radius of that tower, which is about a 6 mile range. Here's the judge's reasons for denying bail. While Joshua doesn't have a criminal background and has a strong ties to the community and is not believed to be a flight risk and may not have been violent that day, he continued to have communication with members of the Oath Keepers after the 6th, which proves he has no remorse for the events of that day. Why would he have remorse if he didn't do anything? And due to the fact that he has PTSD from being blown up in Iraq serving his country and doesn't take his medications for his PTSD and owns firearms, they feel that's a volatile combination and see no reasonable scenario for granting bail. Maybe the fact that we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but in this country, as you now know, for the past 100 years, it's been guilty until proven innocent, and this is just another case proving that. We said we would get rid of any weapons and agree to a medical evaluation to prove he doesn't need medication. There are those not responsible. Excuse me. Are those not responsible scenarios, especially for a combat veteran? See, this kind of situation right here is going to make people that need help not seek help. You know, people, you can be depressed You can have PTSD. You can even be schizophrenic and not need medication. Um, but they're crunching down on this medical, you're a prohibited person because of your medical disability. Even the craziest person in the country at the time of the founding still had the right to keep and bear arms, and nobody would have tried to take their rights from them. But today it's just, it's rubber stamping. They do it all the time. They think they can do it. They know they have the power to do what they want to do. And it's not that they have the right to take your right or they can take your right. There's people that will enforce what they say, whether it's right or wrong, and they do it for a paycheck. Purple Heart, I'm sorry, are those not reasonable scenarios, especially for combat veteran? Purple Heart recipient, small business owner who is the sole provider of his wife and 3 kids, who has strong ties to the community and isn't thought to be a flight risk. He should be able to be home protecting his family while helping prepare for his legal battles. He is unable to work from jail and will have lost over half of our income if he can't work. Bail is supposed to be about your ability. It's supposed to be about you coming back to court. So if you commit a crime, when people post bail, they're not posting bail saying that you won't commit more crimes. They're just saying you will come back to court. It's that simple. My husband has also used his personal time to repeatedly respond to an assistant to assist. Excuse me. My husband has also used his personal time to repeatedly respond to and assist in natural disasters, bringing help to victims of tragedy, injured, and the destructive force of nature, even in his own community. I'll leave the link so you guys can read the rest of this, man, but it's total bullshit. It's the same thing we see going on with Justin from Auto Key Cards. They arrest these people, and they don't get bail. They're totally stripped from their families. And who's not to say that this fate still doesn't await me? We don't know what's going on with the whole auto key card deal. But every day, people, nobody cares until it affects them. 2 weeks ago, this lady didn't care. Joshua didn't care that what's happening. But now that it's happened to them, they care. And that's how it is with everybody in the country. Nobody cares until it affects them personally. That shit's got to stop.